All right, good evening, guys. Ken at Tortoise Capital. This is the weekly check-in for Creativity 202, Tuesday night, May 23rd, 2023. This is session 13 Delta with the gang, and we'll do a quick check-in. Luke, how are you doing down under?
Yeah, going pretty good here. A couple of kids have got COVID, so I'm stuck at the office just working. My wife's at home looking after them, but it's getting quite cold here. But otherwise, all good. Just trading and working. All good. I hope.
Good to hear. Damien, how are you doing tonight?
I feel better now that I talked to you, Ken. Thank you
All right. Well,
for kicking me in the butt. That's what I need.
that's a little pre-recording magic there for accountability. That will be our internal secret. Yeah, good. And Art, how are you doing, sir?
All good here. Just enjoying some cool weather up around Boston.
Nice. And Dan, what's going on?
Doing pretty well. Just getting ready for Memorial Day, and granddaughter Layla turned a month old. I got the nice picture of her today. So
That's
was
coming
nice.
up pretty soon. When is Memorial Day? Is that Monday?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
I have to check. We're probably off that day. I have to check and see.
yeah. There's no trading on Monday.
Yeah, let's see. Let me get this thing set up. There we are. All right. I'm going to go ahead. Yeah, everything's doing good here in Kansas. We got a day-long soccer festival on Saturday for kids that want to try out for the competitive club, but want a little extra training ahead of time to see if that's for them or to work on their skills. So we're going to do a little community day at the soccer park on Saturday. I'm bringing in some of our alumni players who are back in town, and so we're going to have a little reunion and just play some soccer with the kiddos. So it should be a lot of fun. Well, I'm going to go ahead and move us into the room, and then we'll get started with our check-in and works in progress today. So here we go. And Luke.
I remember doing this exercise last time, and I remember really focusing on ego and how to detach myself from my ego. But doing exercises this time, I felt that I don't have such a massive attachment to making sure that I'm right. And going through the questions, what does it mean to me to step outside of the frame and take an inventory? Now I think it's more of a process that I need to focus on my trading and more focus on the assessment of my trading. Assessment's what I keep coming back to. I'm not just looking at what my tally is at the end of the day. I'm also looking at what lessons I'm learning during the day, whether or not I trade at particular sessions that are more beneficial for me to sit at certain times during the day and make sure that I'm getting on to the trades that I should, getting out when I should. And also, I feel like there's waves of my emotions during the day where I can, where I'm not so affected by my emotions. And I feel that after lunch, 12:30 until 4, that's when I want the trading to work. And that's when normally the trading never works. Trying to force the trades to happen because I want it to actually work, to call it a day, never works. And it might be one day out of 5 where there will be some volume and volatility where I can take advantage of it between 12:30 and 4 o'clock my time before the London session takes over. I really just need to take my breaks at that time. There's not the moves that I need to make. So that's where I'm noting down more of not just the R tally, but also what I need to make sure that I'm present for the times it's volatile to exploit the system and really focus that on the weekend to work out when my sessions are going to be. Because normally from 10 o'clock until 12:30, these good movements in some of the Forex pairs, and then also when the London and the German session comes on from 4:30, 5 o'clock until around 7. So I really need to organise my time a lot better. Last week, I missed 3 big moves in the Aussie dollar. I couldn't get on. There was one that moved too quickly. Another one was I was trying to size the position up and it just moved. Previously, I would have been quite annoyed with myself and had a fear of missing out and re-entered at it wouldn't have been a Carter 2 entry, it would have been chasing it. And those trades just absolutely fell. And it was trying to catch a falling knife, and I thought, no, I'm not going to do that. Just wait for the next entry and then wait and make sure that I'm not trying to enter in that quiet zone in the sideways quiet channel, 12:30 to 4 o'clock. Just walking away, being grateful for the fact that the system would have worked if I got on. That being able to recognize the fact that I can't take every possible opportunity and just move on. Next question is, how do I reload my wheelbarrow? I think for me at the moment, it's being emotionally and physically ready for trading. How can I reset my mind to be able to take the next trade, not take on the previous trades that I might have missed or the previous trades that I mightn't have entered and exited exactly where I wanted to, and being able to reset, get to the zero state, take the next trade for what it is. It's the next trade. It's not a continuation of the previous trades. It's a totally new trade, being able to reset and being emotionally present for that. Next question, does everything have to go right back in this time? Not at all. The systems don't need to be perfect. I just need to be the person who turns up all the time, being able to put the trades on, being able to execute it as well as I can, and being able to assess it at the end of the day. Do I change the way I need to load it? I might be more careful with the next time, but in terms of the system I'm trading, I just need to keep chugging at it. Just keep picking at the next trade to work out what I can take from that opportunity. The accountant will work out whether or not the trades and the systems are working based on the statistics, and I'll go into that next. So if I'll share my screen. I think last week I said that just get the screen up. Last week I said I'd go through and so you can see that snag it. Yep. Okay. So with this, what I've done, and I'll go through the analysis of this, is looking at the expectancy of the last 100 trades. Now, I've got a lot of trades in my spreadsheet. So what I've basically done is it's the last 100 trades, but it's looking at the simple moving average of 90 and simple moving average of 270. So obviously it goes back further than 100, but it's looking at the average of it. And then it's also looking at the exponential moving average, 30 based on the simple moving average 90. Now, a lot of that's in detail, but all I'm trying to look at is making sure I'm above 0.1 because that's the danger zone. And the aim is 0.3. So if I can get the expectancy above 0.3, then in terms of a system review, that's making sure that I'm happy with what the system is producing. In between 0.1 and 0.3, that's when I'm a bit troublesome about the system and making sure that it's not a user error in terms of the system. It might be a system error, it might be a change in market structure, it might just be that it's putting trades on and they just go against me all the time and there's no maximum favorable excursion on any of those trades. So some of the assessment might be more detailed in between this area. And when it gets below 0.1, that's when I need to do a full review, a full assessment of what I'm actually doing. Now, in terms of about above 0.3, I need to be exploiting this system for what it's worth and making sure that it might be at that point where I'm putting on second positions a little bit more and ensuring that I have the full ability to take the system for what it's worth. Now, in terms of this, it's also looking at the belief that the next trade is just the next trade in the set of 1,000. I'm just making sure that this is a data set that I'm looking at. And although the next trade might have me emotionally involved in that trade, but in terms of the analysis of this, it's just going to be another blip in terms of what we're looking at in here. So we need a lot of data to make some worthwhile decisions. I've got a lot of data now where I can make some decisions in terms of my trading and the way I'm trading my system. And in terms of the last probably 200-300 trades, they haven't been above 0.1. But now it's starting to get to the point where it's around 0.3. Now that's just one thing we're looking at in terms of expectancy. I've also done the coin flip. Now, I've done this also based on the last 90 period, 270 period, and also the exponential moving average 30 based on the last 90 periods as well. So it's the same formula, looking at the percentage winners times by the average win and dividing that by the percentage losers times the average loss. And then basing that based off the last 90 periods and the last 270 periods. So what the main turning points I'm looking at is when it's below 1.2 and then when it's above, I think it was 2. So in terms of this, all I'm trying to work out is when it's below a certain level, when I need to be careful, and when it's above a certain level, when I need to exploit it. So in terms of a production system, is it still within tolerance? Should we be looking at doing any repairs to the system or exploiting the system? It's not going to guide any of my trading if it's above a certain level. When it's in the white area, everything's fine. When it's in the green area, that's when we can think, right, what can we do to exploit this to a next level? And when is there a time when it's starting to falter, when it's starting to turn down? So this black line here, which is the 90 period exponential moving average 30, when the 90 SMA hits the exponential moving average 30, that's when we can start looking at it and think, right, is something going wrong? Is it myself? Are we trading at times when we shouldn't be? Or is it just that it's a market structure shift and we need to look at what we can do to just focus on the times where it's actually more volatile? So that's what I've done in Excel, and it might have some errors in it, but it just gives me a bit of a guide to work out how my trading is performing. So that's me for this week, I hope.
That is statistical. That is statistical process control. All right.
Good evening. So it's been a busy week, but I think I'm kind of over the hump. Haven't been able to work on the lessons. Had a concert this past Saturday, plus I had my last class in my energy healing class this past weekend. So that was like Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So I have both of those done now for the pretty much till the sometime in August or late September, and looking forward to catching up on these lessons and starting some trading work. And I got invited to the accountability group that meets on Saturday. So I'm very much looking forward to that to kind of help me kind of keep moving. And I'm making a little bit of time, about very little, about 5 minutes each morning meditating. So that's coming along. That's it. Aho.
Yeah, if you don't think 5 minutes is a long time, just hold your breath. Give it a try. See how long 5 minutes is. Yeah, Luke, did you need to take off? Yep. Gotcha. Dan, was that you raising your hand? Okay, it was underneath the cutoff line. It's right at the right angle where it looks like Kilroy was here. With the. Okay, there you go. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, hopefully get a better view there. Yeah, so I've kind of had I guess an embarrassment of riches in terms of self-help and trading knowledge, gaining opportunities, and so I'm just kind of doing a lot of things as best I can. And for this class, I have 2 exercises I can talk about that have been from recent lessons, and I really like thinking about how I could relate to from this lesson. If we're on 13, Unplug Your Ego, I think pretty interesting couple of them, and then I can talk about my work in progress. So the lessons I did the one where you do the 15 minutes of intense creative problem solving, which is sort of how a lot of the trading day goes anyway, when I'm trying to work out what to do and how it works and how to improve. So I decided to do 15 minutes of intense exercise lifted some weights, chased the dog around the yard. And at the end of that, yeah, I felt good. I had a couple insights. So I think that's a worthwhile, when your wheelbarrow falls over before you go pick up the bricks, go do that. The other one I did was the walking meditation. Of course, I'm walking the dog all the time, so I should be doing that at times, and so I did that and found it pretty calming. I printed out the page for mindful walking, and I think that will help me kind of use that frequent period of dog walking as kind of a reset, get back into the zero state when I'm not there. Yeah, I'll come to the 2 exercises from Unplug Your Ego in a second, but I think since I mentioned the zero state, I guess I could talk about my work in progress. Last week, I kind of gave an update and indicated that I was kind of back in the saddle, and I'd done a lot of assessment, and I showed some of the things that I found. And last week was a pretty good week, not in terms of quantity, but in terms of quality. I did bring home 2R on the discretionary exits and 5R on the PSARS exits. So that was cool. This week so far, just 2 trades, and it's the other way around. Slightly underwater on the PSAR exits and slightly above water on the discretionary exits. So we continue the great experiment, and I think I know how it's going to end. It'll be like I've got the spreadsheet where I've got 10 different types of exits categorized. And what I can do, if I'm still in that mode where the PSAR is doing better than the whole menagerie of discretionary exits, I can kind of create a column where I turn on the just the PSAR, but then if one of the categories of discretionary exits is different in its R multiple than the PSAR for that row or that trade, I can count it instead of the PSAR, and then I can see if the column of blended exits is better than the PSAR column, and then I can finally know which of these types of exits I should ever do for discretion and which I should not. So I'm looking forward to having enough trades to do that. Right now I'm still in the 80s, so it's a little low. None of them are statistically significant yet, except for kind of the whole group and large subsets of it. But I did one further assessment, and now I'm done with assessments of this crop. But it was something I wanted to do just to look at my my worst trades, which was about 7 or 8 plus -1, less than -1, and look at some of my best trades, which is about 7 or 8 greater than -1. Nothing gets much greater than that yet for the most part, but I just looked, I put them on the X-ray machine, and I looked at the 3-minute chart under that 30-minute chart. And what I found was that none of the big winning trades had a bad 3-minute chart, where if you looked at that 3-minute chart, you wouldn't take that trade as a 3-minute trade. But some of the losing trades had a bad 3-minute chart. So that was, for a group of 16, that was certainly very suggestive that I should be, taking a look at that as part of my order entry or setup. And the other thing I looked at, I saw a lot of them all like, my ideal trade is it's got a trigger and I've got a stop limit order in advance of the trigger, and now it's got to prove itself to me by getting there. My non-ideal trade is I'm chasing it with a limit order because it's already gone. And I found that, or I'm not chasing it. I'm waiting for it to come back and then wondering if it's came back because it's failing now. I found that, some of the ones in my comments that didn't go well, I was commenting on how that was one of those limit orders. But I can't really, I can't really say that I should not do limit orders yet or anything like that. I also looked at the range, the R-stat that was left from the high or the low of the day, depending which direction I was going. How much R-stat is left entering the trade now? And I found that most of the winning trades had enough R-stat in the tank to still go, but not all of them, because one of them had been going up very smoothly and it was already 90% R-stat expended, but it just kept going. And then the losing trades, a number of them had run out of R-stat. They kind of just died right there when I got in. So that was all a very good exercise, gave me more things to look at. And I'm mindful of what you said last week, Ken, about keeping the process lean, because too many times we kind of go through this whole checklist, and by the time we're ready to put that order in, the trade's gone, and all we can do is paper trade it. There might have been. So I'm working on that, but at some point, I'll be able to, kind of look at all that stuff in 30 seconds instead of taking 2 or 3 minutes, and that'll be great. So that's kind of my trading situation. Back to hobbies and other stuff. On the lesson 13, unplug your ego. I didn't actually do this exercise formally, but in a sense, I have been doing it because my wife and I have been signed up for swing dancing. Now, I am not the kinesthetic type. I mean, obviously, I can feel my skin if I touch it, but I'm not really all that physically adept, when it for things like that. So that's been a challenge. Definitely, the biggest one, the worst one. You may be familiar with the song "Great Balls of Fire." I think it was by Johnny Cash, and
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis. Thank you. And so this whole course, it's like 8 lessons, and what we're doing is just a very detailed choreographed routine with inside turns and outside turns and all these things to that song, and we'll be performing it for an audience. And in the room where we practice is a great big mirror. And at one point last week, they made us all do it in front of the mirror, face the mirror as if it was the audience. And I just got so distracted by that mirror, I completely fell apart. I was kind of not really keeping it together anyway, but I completely fell apart. So this week I had to think, I'm not looking at that mirror when that happens. I'm looking at my dance partner. We switch around, all the women and men switch around all the time. So whoever I'm dancing with, I should be looking at her, not at the mirror. So that was just a sense of, where you put your perspective, where you put your mind. A lot of times I desperately look at someone who I think knows what they're doing. Another man, what move is he leading? That's the one I need to do. So I guess really I need to figure out where to put my center of attention, as well as the rehearsal. Just like with trading, mental rehearsal for these swing dance practices is very important. Then there was an exercise 3. Again, I didn't do that one formally, but there is a creative project that I dropped because I felt it wasn't good enough, and that was drawing and painting. I took a course last fall, and then I bought a cartoon lesson on Udemy, and I was going to try and do that, but I just I don't know if I dropped it because I felt I wasn't good enough so much as I felt like I don't have that much time, and I'm not that good. I'm never going to be great, although I still would like to be able to, to do it. So I'm actually working on a thank you note for my new father, my new not father-in-law. What do you call the father-in-law of your son? Whatever that is. He's over in Taiwan, and he sent me a really nice bottle of whiskey from Taiwan, and so I'm trying to do a thank you note, drawing out the Chinese characters and everything. So I'm working on that. That is pretty much what's going on with me. There's a lot of creativity there. I'm going to look at that exercise 2 and 3, see if it can give me help with these troublesome hobbies that I love, as well as getting back to more of the writing using our wonderful AI tools. Oh.
Damien.
Thank you, Ken. I'm not going to repeat what I said on Sunday during Creativity 202. The reason that I decided tonight to attend our session is because I feel depressed. I feel really upset with myself. My ego is really taking over, and I just really came here to recharge the battery so I can have a better day tomorrow. Sometimes, that's what needs to be done. And I like to listen, to my mentor, Ken, and everybody else. You all have a lot of ideas, and I have to learn from my mistakes, and I'm kind of the individual who has a tendency of being a slow learner. I'm trying not to be negative in my talk, because I was talking to someone today, and he was telling me that I'm super negative about everything. So I have to refrain my mind to become a better person, a positive person, and everything else. Over the long term, it's going to work out, and we're on the right track. But like the exercise said, is sometimes you have to empty the wagon of all the bad stuff, and then take the breaks that you really need to be able to move forward. And I know what they are now. I just need to put that into motion. It's not going to be fixed in 2 days. It's probably going to be a lifetime journey, but I'm up for the challenge. I hope.
Well, let's see. My work in progress this week is really just preparing for Sunday's soccer event with the local community. Kind of spontaneously, we decided to bring in all the alumni that were in the area to do just a little scrimmage against the kids and see how many of the old team shows up. I got 5 or 6 kids that are still in the local area from in college or graduated and back here working, whatever. So we're gonna have just a little get together on Saturday and play soccer with a bunch of little kids. And remember, that's how old we were when we started 15 or 20 years ago with the club. And just pave the way for the next generation. A bunch of the little kids that are signed up for that one-day camp are kids that play with me on Sundays anyway. So I've sent them all a little note saying, hey, be on your best behavior. You're going to be my assistant instructors, so be ready and all that stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun and looking forward to it. And I finished up my last master's thesis supervision yesterday. It was the Lithuanian officer who did his master's thesis on updating Lithuania's national defense plan. That's the job that he found out he's going to when he goes back home after he spent a year working in our staff college. He's going to go be chief of plans for Lithuania, and they're in the middle of trying to figure out what to do in the face of pretty turbulent times there in Eastern Europe. And he did a deep study into the neighboring countries of Sweden, Finland, Poland, Latvia, Estonia, and the Czech Republic, in order to see what kind of options his country has for partnerships and whatnot in the middle of a contentious time. So it was really gratifying and humbling to work with a guy that's got skin in the game like that and put a real sense of urgency on the things we were doing. So, but we finished that yesterday. He did a great job with it, and I learned a ton from all the work he did. So, may you live in interesting times. Huh? So that's everything I got from out here. I'll hit the tones, ask you to think about the word for the week ahead, and ask you to report on that, and then we'll move on down the road. So listening to the tones, listening for the word that comes to mind. Damien.
Hope.
All right.
Peace. Peace.
Dan. Unmute.
Reload.
Mine's skin in the game. And we'll see you guys shortly or the next time we see you. So please take good care, and see you on down the road. Ciao for now.
Ciao. Bye, everyone.